Now, this is, he was sent to me by Board Forge Ireland at the time. Before I got into Monkey High Water, he was at Wounded Knee for a long period, and he wrote a book on it, and he got the Pulitzer Prize winner for his work. Would any of you like to be a squaw? Quite a good fellow. Okay, to Monkey High Water. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Tom. Now, this was techniques we had to try and adopt. The American thing started with, for weddings, when you put the bride and groom into brandy glasses. That's Anne worked for me for 24 years. She came when she was 15. And she was a lawyer's employee for 24 years. And she loved her work. And I used to use her for models, for using lighting, effect, and all kinds of, when I get new lighting in that. Okay, and that now is putting her into my love is only for you. That now in that was only practicing. You see, so I knew then the vignette I'd have to need when I photographed my bride and groom, and I'd send them to the lad then who would do the colour, and they'd sandwich them then, and they put that in on the bride and groom that was there instead. But that was Anne's lawyer. There she is with the camera. That was a PR shot for something we were doing in ME67. That's another one of ours, experimenting with lighting and bed and shade again. I was trying to get this line here and so on. And it was wonderful. But still not great time. Now, there's a nice story to this. I was preparing for my associateship in portraiture, and I was trying to get a portfolio together. So I thought about it, and this was one I decided on. I knew May from the time I was serving Mass, and she was a deeply religious person. So I said, May, I want to take a photograph someday. They come across, she was across some Dans in her sister's, or brother's house, where Matt Malloy is now. That's where she lived. So May came over, and she had a white blouse and all that. Now, I was only interested in her hands and her face. So I got her to reverse her cardigan. Because in her life, in her work, she prayed, wrote letters to priests in the foreign mission, helped the sick and the dead, and she lay with the dead 2 times. So her hands and her face were all around. Her body was never adorned with fancy clothes or anything like this. And she just was devoted her life to Christian work. So to me, her hands was all I wanted. So I set her up, and I had the lights, and I was messing around with them. And she fell normally into prayer, because she said, you know, this was her way. She would pray, and she was talking about my mother, and she was a similar person. Too, very religious, and she was deep in prayer, and I took that and I knew I had what I wanted. And when I was finished, then she said, right, are you going to take it now? She says, no, I'm going to take it. And I said, no, I've got it. And I loved that picture, and she had a house in Artemon Street then, and the lady that bought the house, what's her name? Elizabeth Farmer. She loved that picture, and she had a large canvas at the house, nearly a shrine to me. That was me. I just loved that. And, that was one of my portfolio for them. There's another one coming up too that I used. That's Sean McBride. Yeah, lovely man. Mary McBride, nearest relative in Westport. She gave me his phone number, and I rang him up, and he said certainly. And so I went up anyway sometime after. I took that normal, but I also took this other one. To me, that was the mind of McBride. It's such a brilliant mind. I call it the mind of McBride. He's instantly recognisable, even though the very little was shown. And no man in Cork could have larger than that for his place in Cork. On one of them there. But when I was there, and just working, the phone rang, and he said, excuse me, he said, well, I'm expecting a phone call. So he went out to the phone, and he was talking in English first, and he switched to French to the man he was talking, and he came back and he said, I'm sorry about that. I said, but that was Mr. Secretary General of the United Nations for a vote to Hammershaw. And to the time of the Iranian hostage question, he was only back from Tehran after negotiating the release of the American hostages. And I said, here am I in the middle of international happenings up from Little Westport. But anyway, he was a hungry man who sat down at a mug of tea at the table and all, and he had no fancy backgrounds or to take photographs. He had books piled everywhere. I don't know how he got into bed. He had stacks of books all around the bed. What a mind that man had. He was then, he was the only person I think that got the Nobel Peace Prize and the Lenin Peace Prize, which is most unusual. Okay, the Benny McHale. Did I have him before?
No.
Andy Kenny, I mean. Andy Kenny, yes. A young Andy. He was a handsome man, wasn't he? Yeah, okay. Now this was, I used to love some of the ceremonies, still do, and this, these two ladies, particularly, that's Rachel Burrow standing and Hilary Boyle sitting. Now there's another one coming up, that's Hilary Boyle, and she was absolutely marvellous lady on radio. She, a brave, feisty little woman in her 80s. She chained herself to the railings of Trinity College for women's rights and that, all that kind of thing. And wonderful, and we brought her to the Railway Hotel during Westport, and she stood in there, up in the commercial room. There were about 50 people or 60 there, and she spoke for 3 hours without looking at a note and had them all in trouble. She was just an incredible lady. Anyway, that's her. That was just, I was again trying to get particular moods and trying to look into a person as much as I could and trying to get what was in them into the picture. Yeah, okay. That's Paddy Harron. He was buried last week. He was the great skipper for donkey's years in the Scotland. Great storyteller, well known all over the world. Yeah, such a famous man he was. He was the ferryman in the Scotland. Okay. Actually, yeah. That's Father Kevin Hegarty, yeah, great man, absolutely intelligent, super brilliant, super brilliant that man. And at the time he was editor of Intercom, which is the priest magazine with every priest in the world, every Irish priest. And he was fired because he began to take issue with the bishops about the way that what was happening, and they were doing nothing about it. So that wasn't said then, and he was fired. The Irish Times asked me to forward. He was sent down to the far end of Belmont, as far away as they could, the usual thing. And I went down to photograph Kevin there. That was the Irish Times at the time. Yeah. Okay. Well, that was who took that anyway? Go on. Oh yeah, isn't that Carsha of Ottawa? Carsha of Ottawa, the most famous portrait photographer in the world that ever was. And I was in his studio I'm not sure where now. And it's just such a brilliant, that was his camera. He wasn't there, I think he was gone dead at the time, his assistants were there. That was the camera he used. It was a privilege to be in his studio. He did the famous portrait of Winston Churchill during the war. He was brought over from America to photograph Churchill at the time. And he was trying to get what he wanted. And Churchill was a grumpy man. And he was there trying, and he said, well, I haven't got it yet. And what did he do? He took Churchill's cigar away, immediately got what he wanted, took the picture. And that picture was reproduced all over the world so many times. Anyway, that was Carsha's story, yeah. Don't mind that, come on. That was a GA fan to a football match. Carmel likes that one. A retired postman of his last days. Lovely character, that in his face and his stomach and shape. Just like that. Okay. Now, this is one of my favourites. This is Mairead from Gallagher and...
Oh, I taught her.
What'd you say?
I taught her.
Did you?
I did in Castlebar.
Did you?
She was from Ackle.
She was, Mairead Gallagher, yeah.
I taught Marie.
It's a lovely girl. Now, she... Really, I call this that Eve was a redhead from Ackle. There she was her apple, and she had freckles, beautiful freckles. Now, this picture isn't doing it justice. The freckles will be more pronounced. The negative, or something, there has been a little deterioration in the negative. Or I may have another one, I'm not sure. But she had beautiful blue eyes, fabulous long hair, great personality, extremely bright girl. She was a teacher then. Lovely girl. Now, if Hollywood had found her, she would have a career in Hollywood. With those looks and that hair and that personality and those eyes, she's absolutely gorgeous. It's a pity she, well, maybe she's better off. She married Tony Coffey, who was an army officer. Right at the wedding. She had freckles all over. What's that for? Do you know how I know? I asked her husband. That's Eric Cross. He was great.
Oh, yes.
The great Eric. He wrote the chair and Anstey. I have a photograph somewhere too, and I have it on another showing of himself and on the stage with the cast in Westport, in the cast of the chair and Anstey. Yeah. Okay. That's the statue of him. That's a statue of Anstey on the right, on the left. Anstey himself, the tailor. Of Taylor, I mean, not Anstey, of the tailor. Yeah. Okay. Now this, I just thought there might be camera club people. This is, the tradition. It started by the Overmasters, I think. The triangle in every picture is important. It started with the Madonna and Child. You can turn and cross in the Child. It's a triangle. The triangle seems to be the most acceptable shape for pictures that you want to look at for a long period. You don't get tired of it, or you get tired of other regularities in the picture. That was Bishop Noel Willoughby down in Kilkenny, a lovely man. He was a friend of my brother Paddy's, and I had to do the official one for Kilkenny Cathedral. Just the one on the canvas. Okay. Sister Attractor, I just thought she was lovely. She reminded me of that film star, picture me. She runs Swope House up in Foxford. She's done wonderful work up there. Okay. That's his car. She was Declan Gray's daughter, isn't it? I just thought there was something about that. It's like a past period picture. She's just lovely. Okay. Now that's Patrick Pye, the wonderful stained glass artist. Every year he used to send me a pen and ink drawing of the station there, a religious picture for Christmas. And we've kept them alright. I think they're great to have. As a Christmas card. That was for the front cover. Then I did that for the Irish Times, and Michael Viney. Lovely man. Okay. And Sister Irene, I thought. Just amazing story, that Sister Irene. She's gone, I don't know where she is. Okay, Tom. That's another one for me. Now that, I went to Innisturk. I used to go a lot, I loved Innisturk. I used to sail a lot to Innisturk and sleep in the boat, and I loved it out there. But I used to see this lovely woman, Mrs. O'Toole, when her son Mick would go fishing out for the day, and he'd come back late at night. She'd spend her hours at the window looking out for him going and looking out for him coming back and saying roses for me. Just lovely, lovely people. So I thought she had a lovely face. Mary Agnes. Okay. And that was a girl she was a designer, she wanted something a bit more arty, so I did that. Oh, this is Brian Keenan for Welsh Television, or ITV. And they were doing a documentary and they wanted some stills too. But he said, I don't want any photographers, because he said they took pictures of him when he came out and they were abused and the things to say under the captions and everything. So they said, well, we've been trying to fit on Westport. I always said, if it's him, it's all right. He said, trust him. But he knew me. So I shot him. I brought him up to Prospect for a quiet day. He went to a quiet road place up to Prospect. I used to shoot a lot of brochures up there for Carlton and all those. Okay, next one. Yeah, there's Brian there at the back. That's Clare Island. He's built a house in Clare Island. He's living there, and his wife and children. His lovely wife. She was his physiotherapist. So she was, okay. Is that it? Oh, yeah, I'm not seeing her. That's a bit lighter now that I'd like it to be a bit more current. But I knew him off. I did a lot of work for him, and after the photographs. And I remember the day he told me, Fidema was in Clamars at the time in school, and we called to see him. I had something to leave him to the picture, I suppose. He said, leave me, he said, do you mind going to build an airport out there, that mountain out there? I said, well, you're drowning about it. He knew I used to do a bit of flying. He said, I am, he says, and I waited. And I said, good luck to you, I said, but I said, I think it should be on more level ground around Clamars or somewhere. No, it's gone up there. And he did it, and it came to pass. And then he wanted a portrait done, and I did that one often. And he loved that picture. Now, to me, that picture is successful in this way that when you look at it, you can see the twinkle in his eyes. He's that sense of humour, but then you can see the determined mouth. You know that was what I felt was James Hurley. And they sculpted him. They did the bus for him for Knock Airport. There's a bus there. He asked me for photographs from each side of his face, which I had. And they did a plaster cast of it and brought it down for us to show the board. And for his sister. And his sister was looking at this plaster cast. And she had a walking stick with her and said, "That's not our Jimmy," and smashed it. He had the smirk like that, she says. So now there's thousands of that have been printed in Knock. The leaflets go out every day. I don't get any royalties now, but my name is on, that's it. So is that all, Carmen?